Hi guys, it's Jessica Hayes. Today for you I have filmed a tutorial. I don't know why I'm doing these hands. This tutorial on this goth kind of glam look. This was the look that I was wearing when I was swatching all of the Kat Von D Everlasting liquid lipsticks. So basically I felt like it was a look that pretty much goes with every single shade of lipstick color that you would ever possibly want to wear. So if you like this look, keep on watching and I will teach you how to do it. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of concealer. This is Urban Decay Naked Skin in Fairly Warm. Put that all over the eyes for now. So I'm going to start off with a little bit of the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. I'm just going to pat that all over my lid just with my finger. Starting off right at on the lid first and then patting upwards. Make sure you always tightly close your paint pots because otherwise they'll dry out if you just kind of leave them open just while you're working. So I'm going to start off with this color right here from the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, and I'm taking my Smith 256 brush and I'm just going to lay that down all over the lid. Next I'm going to take a Smith 230 brush with this medium toned brown, and I'm going to start by popping that just in the crease of the eye. For this look I didn't really have a final destination for it, so I just kind of used a ton of the colors from this palette. I just wanted like a really kind of glam, winged out, smoky eye, but I also added a little bit of those reddish tones in the palette. I'm going to take a little bit of this red color now, and just on the tip of that brush, I'm just going to blend that through right there in the crease. Then I'm going to be taking this Smith 232 brush and just a little bit of this warm orange color right here. I'm just going to softly blend those two colors together. I'm going to start off underneath the eye. I'm actually using a little bit of MAC Smolder just right underneath the lash line. Don't put too much of this on because we are going to be using the black from the palette, so you don't really need a lot of liner. It's just a little bit just to hold the shadow as well. Putting too much of this on the MAC Smolder, it will definitely smudge. I'm just blending that out with the tip of the 256 brush. I'm going to take the small little baby version of that brush, that's the 253, and then I'm going to pop my black on over the top. So just patting and pressing that black into the liner that we just built. Bring it up just a little bit because we are going to wing out that top liner as well. Just use the very tip of that brush just to soften along that lower line there as well, so it's a little more blown out and diffused rather than being a harsh line underneath the eye. So now I'm going to start by building a little bit of a wing on the upper lid. I'm just going to be using this almost as a background to our liner, just so it gets a little more of a hazy kind of effect rather than being too crisp. And I'm going to be leaving it thicker on the outer corner and thinning down as we get towards the inner corner of the eye. This is a great technique to do as well if you're not very confident with liquid liner, because it gives you a little bit of a diffuser behind the really kind of crisp line, so that you can't really see if you do make any kind of wobbly bits or mistakes. I'm going to take the tip of the 230 brush again and just pop like the tiniest little bit of black on the tip of that, and just smoke in the crease right there where that transition color meets that hazy kind of eyeliner look, and just kind of smoke that up just a little bit. This is the kind of look that just keeps evolving. I think what I was going for was maybe more of that reddish brown kind of smoky eye, and then I was like, no, screw it, I'm going to put black in the crease. So just keep building towards your comfort level. Maybe you wanted to stop before we added that black there. Grab that 232 brush again with nothing else on it, and I'm just gonna buff that crease in just to make sure that there's no harsh lines and everything's blending in with each other. Back and forth. Just gonna run that brush underneath here as well, just to make sure it's super buffed out. Use a clean flat shading brush and add a little bit just into that inner corner there. This is the shade Succubus from the palette. I'm gonna tap that about midway on the eye. Bring that just a little bit underneath so that whitish shade meets the black, and that's just gonna kind of blend in and blur those colors in together. Okay, now we line. So I'm gonna take the Kat Von D ink liner in the color Trooper, which is black, and I'm gonna start off making this flick out here, just a little line. And then bring that liner back to meet that tail. Fill in the gaps. Now that your line is done, if there are any little bits that aren't quite perfect, you can grab that brush that we were using for the black again and just kind of buff over the line. This will just kind of take any focus off any areas that aren't perfect, diffuse it a little bit. So once you're happy with liner and how everything's blended out, we're going to add mascara and some eyelashes. Using a little bit of the Urban Decay Perversion mascara. Before we do lower lashes, I'm just going to add a little bit of this, sharpen it first, Charlotte Tilbury Eye Cheat Eye Kohl. Bottom lashes. I'm going to be popping on these LA Splash lashes in City Walk. Alright, now that that's done, I'm going to start off with my base. Since the last time I've done it on a tutorial, I've probably updated it just a little bit. So I'm starting off with the Becca Poreless Primer, and I just pop a little bit of that right in the center of the face. Just like a little pea-sized amount right there. And I'm going to be taking the Too Faced Born This Way in Porcelain. One pump on the back of this crown blending brush. Dot that onto the face. I haven't had any problems with the Becca primer balling up, but if you are using a primer, I always like to be careful and not like rub that foundation in too much around that area. You're going to use more of a dabbing motion instead. I don't get super oily, but this is more of a dewy kind of finish. So that's why I have been popping a little bit of that pore perfecting mattifying gel on first. So just gonna take this brush and kind of use that just to make sure that those edges of the eyes are nice and clean. The reason why I didn't use like a baby wipe or anything underneath there is because I don't want a really sharp line under there. So for me, one pump of the Too Faced Born This Way is definitely enough coverage. I don't like my foundations to be too cakey. Just gonna go in, add just a little more, just a touch of concealer right there. Anywhere that you've got any fun little friends, just pop a little right there. I do prefer more of a pinpoint kind of concealer. So that is where you're not using a full coverage over your entire face just to cover a few little blemishes. Instead, you're just going to use a concealer on the areas where you need it and blend it out. So those little areas where we've got our little friends, I'm just going to kind of use the tip of this brush and just buff around that, make sure it's not obvious that you've concealed that area. Probably should be using a concealer that's a little bit darker than this. That Too Faced foundation has a little more color, but we'll deal with it. Now I'm going to do brows. My brows are slightly bleached and kind of grown out right now, but I have recently been using the MAC Taupe Impeccable Brow Pencil and just lightly filling them in. These need to be redone right now, so please excuse my porcupine looking eyebrows. So really I'm just using a very, very light hand and just kind of going along places that are a little more sparse in my eyebrows. I don't want a really super heavy brow look, seeing as we're, you know, have a lot going on for lips and eyes with this look. So just very, very soft pressure. Just gonna take my Smith's Bully brush and just kind of work that back into the brow so it's not super harsh. All right, going back to this magical palette that I suggest everyone should own. I'm going to be taking my Smith 118 brush and this kind of taupey color. I'm gonna be popping that just right there as my contour. I use this brush for my contour and my blush, that's why it's got all the pink on it. So now I'm going to take the tip of that brush and pop that warm kind of orangey color just on the apples of the cheeks. Blend back into that contour. So I use one side, the kind of the edge of the brush for the contour, and then the flat of this side for the apples of the cheeks and the blush. This is also an awesome blush brush for cream blush. Blush brush for a cream brush. Try saying that quickly. Now I'm going to be using this Morphe M509 with a little bit of MAC Lightscapade and just popping that just along the tips of the cheekbones. Now that is the face done, start with some lips. So for this look, I used the Kat Von D Witch's Everlasting Liquid Lipstick. I'm just going to be using the applicator this comes with. So starting off in the center of the lips. Pop the applicator into the product again and start on the top. Kind of glad that little boo-boo happened. I'm going to show you how to fix it. I just have a makeup wipe and I've stretched that around the tip of my nail. I'm just dragging that along the skin. And then use that brush and a little bit of your foundation. Foundation, not your concealer, because you don't want it to end up cakey. Kind of drag it along the edge there. So this is my finished look. It's kind of a little bit more of an edgy goth glam, if you will. For liquid lipsticks, I will link all the Kat Von D swatches below that I originally had this look from, and I will also link the frequently asked questions about liquid lipsticks, so make sure you watch that if you do have any questions about liquid lipsticks. And like always, if you have any questions at all, make sure you comment them below and I will try my best to answer. And subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! Then I'm going to be taking the Too Faced Born This Way in... Today I have for you... That's what I have. Is